Greetings, I'm Barrington. Welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing a playthrough of Uprising, Curse of the Last Emperor. We're going to be taking two factions against the Imperial Legion and the Chaos Horde. We're uprising against these. We are going to try to get the most victory points that we possibly can. Our two factions have to have victory points above the Chaos and the Legion in order to win this game. I'm excited to show you what we have. I'm going to even try to use one of the expansions factions that came with all of the extra material that was part of the Kickstarter. If you're interested in some other great videos of this, Colin over at the One Stop Co-op Shop did a playthrough of Uprising. I'm going to put a link to his in the description below, so please go ahead and check his out. He used some different characters that I am, so I'm excited to show you the differences that are taking place with all the different factions. Let's see what happens to our brave characters as we try to uprise against the Imperial Legion. If you're excited to see if we can do it, then I need you to meet me at the table. We'll start with the setup of the game. We're going to go through each part of this. If you're not interested in seeing this, I do have some timestamps that can put you right to the very first turn if you're interested. Otherwise, let's continue here. First, each player is going to decide on a faction, and we're going to take the player boards, all these units that they have, which is a finite supply of units, just to be aware. Once you've lost all three of these, if you ever have to gain one or do something with one and you don't have the ability to get it, that's it. This is a finite resource worth of materials. We're going to take our hero card, and we're also going to take the standee and the 8 feet cards that go with it. Each one of these factions comes with two different heroes that you can play. So we could either play Dubpa the Seer, or we can play with Kahal the Destroyer. We're going to use the Destroyer. He looks actually fantastic. These are all the stats that this character has. When you need to roll your hero's dice, these are going to be the dice you roll. 3 red, no purple, a blue, and then you can choose either a white or orange for the Guile, but he doesn't have any. If you wanted to use this person, though, look, they've got different symbols here that we can use different dice. We're going to use him. We also get our deck of 8 cards. I've put the ones we don't start with up here. These are the ones we do start with since they do say start. This is showing that it's only going to be used during the archery phase, and it says here, if you have +2 Vargs here, I get to gain an extra orange dice before rolling. And I'll go through all that as we play. As you can see, these are our Vargs right here, so we might want to buy a couple of those if we can when it comes to producing our different units. Down here are the different havens. As you go through the game, you're going to try to place havens down so you can gain more resources. And the more of these havens you place, as you can see, it uncovers the amount of resources you're going to be able to gain. So we'll place those back down here. I think that's about all we have left to do for our characters. We are going to take our hero, and I do want you to know that the hero is kind of its own entity. It isn't really part of any combat. It gets to use its abilities and its cards for the combats and things of that nature, but it doesn't actually fight. It doesn't roll any of these dice when it actually fights against other units or other things on the board like the Chaos or the Imperial Legion. We do all start with 5 of each resource. We have plunder, we have food, and we have salt. All of these are going to be used to potentially buy units. We're also going to use them during our actions to perform certain actions. We have to pay certain resources. So it's always good to remember to keep some in reserve when you actually go to your turn. That's the end of this group. Let's go check out the other one. This is the other faction I have chosen to use. This is from the expansion, so this is not in the base game. I wanted to show you one of these. I think this is going to be awesome. These play completely different from any other factions. Well, I should say that all the factions are unique in their own aspect, but this one's got some really unique things going on with it. First, I have decided to use Talak the Oathbreaker, mainly because he's rolling the purple and blue dice where we didn't have those with Valg the Destroyer. I could have used this person if I wanted to, but look, his dice are very similar to the ones that our Destroyer would be using. So I wanted to use 2 different kind of characters. So we have Talk the Oathbreaker. We have its 2 starting cards that we'll go over during the actual playthrough. Interestingly enough, if you notice, nothing here is the same as the last tribe. This one says production. The Renegade Legion has no resource production. Instead, he gains twice the bonus resources for each hex one of your havens is on. So we'll see how that works during the playthrough, but just beware, he doesn't uncover these to gain resources. He's going to be gaining resources in a different way. We have all of the different units up here, and they all roll different dice from the other group of units that we were using before. For example, we have these 6 tribesmen that the other group was using that rolls orange dice. These guys are Imperial Legionnaires that are going to be rolling blue dice, which is a different type of die. And the game comes with this handy dandy little reference sheet here that shows you the possibilities of what you can roll when you use one of these set dice. Since we're going to be using blue dice for them, notice there's a couple more defensive type dice rolls as opposed to the orange ones, which are all in offensive mode. And I guess that kind of makes sense. If you look at the standee, it's got this huge giant shield, which is pretty cool. Now, why did I pick this faction? Because it has a dinosaur, and I wanted to use a faction that had a dinosaur. Why wouldn't you want to use a dinosaur? Dinosaurs are pretty cool. It is a war lizard, but I'm just probably going to call it a dinosaur the whole time because it's absolutely awesome. That's our second faction all set up. We have our 5 resources, and we're ready to go. Let's get the map up and running. Here's the map you see before you. This is a 4X game. You're never going to know what is around you except for 3 things. You're going to know your home tiles that your characters are going to start on, and you're also going to know where the capital is. Other than that, the rest is going to be completely random. The first thing you're going to want to do for your first game or so is try to find every different thing that has this symbol in it, whether it be, for example, the event cards. They're also found in the item cards. They're found in some of the tiles themselves. You're going to remove that. Those are for more advanced players or for maybe your second or third game, which makes the game a little bit more difficult. So I've removed all those from this game so you can see how just a base game of this would be played as. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to set the board up as a 2-player game. So as you can see, according to the board, the book, there is 2, 3, and 4-player setups. We're going to be using the 2-player setup, so we're going to be placing all the tiles right in this area, and then we have a couple special ones called C tower areas that we're going to place down. We're then going to place a curse and a couple of these skeletons down as well. Let's go ahead and start doing that. This game comes with an astronomical amount of tiles. We're just going to give them a quick little truffle shuffle, and then I'm going to place them out front in reverse order. I'm going to pull them from the bottom because I know what is on top. It doesn't really matter which way you set these, but I'm going to set them so we can actually see what the tile looks like from the bottom. As you can see, each one of these has a different resource that you can potentially gain as you're playing through the game. And if you go to these tiles and uncover them, that most likely is going to be the type of resource you're going to find. Is that true all the time? Probably not, but I haven't seen all the tiles, so I don't know exactly how all of them are going to transpire. So we have placed out all of those according to the book. We do have some of these other tiles which are unexplored sea towers. These are usually very good to try to get a hold of because they not only give you victory points, they usually have an advantage for having them. So we'll place 2 of them just like that according to the book. We'll place down a couple of these curses. Curses are bad news. They're going to gain victory points to the chaos player. Also, when you attack anything in a cursed location, you're not able to use any of your special powers that could be found on the die when you roll them. For example, these lightning bolts will trigger different things, and we won't be able to take advantage of them if there are curses there. We're also going to place a skeleton down in each of those. So the horde is all set up for the very beginning. Now we have to set up the Imperial Legion. The Imperial Legion is going to gain 1 of each of these garrisons that start on level 1, and then it's going to have a level 3 garrison, which is this cool looking model here, that is going to be put right in the capital, and they're going to gain victory points for each one of these they have down on the board. So we have to kind of quell both groups at the same time, which is really, really cool. The next thing we're going to do is take our Druid deck here, shuffle it up. These are going to give us advantages and special powers when we roll our dice. Most of them have to do with lightning bolt symbols. We're going to place them down on the 4 corners of this board. They might be a little bit out of camera up on the top, but just know that all 4 of our Druid cards are all placed down, and we'll return the other ones to the box. To finish setting up the board, we just have to take all of our victory point markers and place them on 0. So we have the Imperial Legion, the Horde, we have our 2 different factions as well. So they're all set to go. Let's continue with the setup using the item decks, our quest decks. Next, we'll take our quest deck, give it a good old truffle shuffle here, and place it down where it says quest deck. And then we're going to reveal 3 different quests. And each one of these quests is going to be a little bit different, and they're going to give you some bonuses. Let's quickly just take a look at one of these. First off, some of them are going to have when they come out effects. This one does not. You're going to roll your hero dice and try to get these, meet or beat these symbols. If you do, you're going to be able to complete the quest. And the number of these different types of symbols you need to meet or beat are found down here. To complete this one, we only have to get one of these met or beat in order to get the solve problem down here and gain the rewards for completing the quest. Though if we don't get any, we're going to fail and something's going to happen. Now this one doesn't have too bad of a problem, it's just discard this quest, but some of them are going to help out the victory points for the Chaos or the Imperial Legion. It could be Bad News City. And if you do actually meet any of these or beat them, you're going to gain the powers that are underneath these. So if we did the 4 skulls, we get a victory point. If we did these, you're going to get this power right here. If you did all 3, you're going to get all 3 of these powers. So the quests are really cool. Of course, once you complete a quest, you're going to discard it, and we'll refill it when it goes to the next round. Now we're going to get our item decks ready. This game comes with an astronomical amount of items, and on top of that, there's an armory that can even add more. We'll mix these up a little bit, and we'll place down 3 different items. We'll put one here, here, and here. Now, these are all able to be bought if you decide to take the market action. And if we look at one of these, I'll just show you quickly what you're seeing. This is going to be kind of what it does for you. This is what you have to have in your stat block for your hero in order to purchase this item. So, for example, the Destroyer could not buy this, where Tal could buy this without any problem because he has 3 in his magic slot. We are going to have to pay 1 salt in order to gain this. And once you get this, you'll put this next to your hero, and you're going to immediately refill it. Unlike the quest deck, you immediately refill it, and these will be recycled after each chapter. We're almost done. The last few things we have to do is we have to shuffle up our Chapter 1 deck, and we're going to place 1 card down on Chapter 1 and return the rest of them to the box. We're going to do this same thing with Chapter 2, 3, and 4. We're going to take 1 card, place it there, and we'll do that for 3 and 4. Once that's completed, we are going to take our Horde cards and shuffle them up as well, so we don't know what Horde enemy is going to be coming out. Now remember, a Horde enemy that comes out isn't necessarily just one guy running at you. It's a combination of a whole bunch of hordes of chaos coming at you with a certain leader, which is pretty cool. And we'll see how these play probably very shortly. They like to come out right away. We're also going to take our Legion deck and give that a good old truffle shuffle. And this is going to be, of course, a hero leading a Legion group out into the wilderness to try to stop the Uprising. The last thing we have to do is give the first player token to one of our 2 leaders. I think we'll have the Destroyer go first. He looks big and bad. Let's have him go first. We're going to start at the top here, and we're going to go all the way down the track that is found on the side of the game board. This is a phenomenal track that tells you every single thing you have to do. And if you ever have a question about how any of this works, it is referenced right away in the rulebook, which is really cool. So as we slide this down, the first thing we're going to do is reveal a Druid card. We'll take one of them off the board and take a look at it. So as you can see, if we do roll Lightning Bolt during the archery or clash phase, we're going to ignore all skulls shown on 1 die your enemy rolled before damage, and we can do it once per round. So if something really bad happens, we didn't get any hits and they got a ton, we can use this to try to, well, preventing all of that is, of course, we roll a Lightning Bolt when we do our attack. We're going to flip all your face down cards back to face up. So if any of our cards were down, we'll flip them back up, but that's not going to happen. We don't have to worry about that. We're going to regain our 8 action points. All your characters start with 8 action points. They're located by these cubes right here. We'll put those down next to our characters and be able to use them when it comes to our turn. We're then going to deal 3 new items and discard the old ones. We've already done that during the setup. We've also done that for the quest cards, and we're going to pass the first player token left. We're not going to do that because, of course, we're just starting the game. We'll go right to the event phase. At this point, if there were any Legion or Horde players in play, we would add 2 threat to them. This is the first turn, so good news, there are not. The first player draws and reads the next event. So we'll take the event card from the top of the deck and we will read it. It says, "The freezing cold mercilessly destroyed every crop, turning food into an invaluable resource." So every player is going to gain 2 food, while on the horizon, eerie lights announce the arrival of an even worse threat than hunger. We're going to place 1 horde at threat 4 on the fog grave, not adjacent to a haven, and we're going to place 1 horde at threat 4 in the screaming sea, not adjacent to a haven. So let's take care of this card. Oh, look how cool that picture is. The first thing we'll do is give everybody 2 food, which should definitely help us when it comes to our production. Then we'll draw our first horde card and see what we have found. We have found the false Messiah. He says here, "The words of the Messiah promised redemption, but at what price? Immediate occult rising. Place the false Messiah on the haven with the most units. If there are no units on the haven, place him on a sea tower." Wow, okay, so that's going to be different from what we're supposed to do. Since he has an immediate effect, that's going to override what is on the card. He's going to be at 4 threat because our card not only said that, but also it shows it right down here. So if at any point during the game you have to place a horde or an Imperial Legion and you're not sure what threat to use, always refer to your chapter card unless told otherwise. So we'll put down a 4 on this. We have this neat little handy dandy little thing here that sits right in there. And what this is going to tell us is how powerful that horde is coming at us. It's going to have 2 white dice during the archery, but all these other dice during the actual clash phase. As you do damage, you're going to lower this down, and as you can see, it gets weaker and weaker. But of course, as it goes up, it gets stronger and stronger. If it ever gets to 7 and you need to add more to it, it's just going to gain victory points instead, which are bad news. Remember, victory points is only part of this game that you need to win. It doesn't matter how many things you have on the board, what you're doing on the board, as long as you have victory points, you are winning. It has some special abilities here, but we're not going to worry about that. We'll place that down right next to the board, and then we'll find the standee, which is going to be our false messiah right here, and we're going to place it down at the outpost with their haven with the most units. There are no outposts out here with units. We're going to place the false messiah right here on the unexplored sea tower. Another thing we had to do during our setup, which I failed to do, is we need to place down our first haven. We always start with 1 haven in our starting spot. We'll put 1 in the Truthful Gate, and I'll put the other one up there in Pac Glandris. Also, he's got a special ability on his faction board that whenever one is placed, I get to place a wall and a tower with it, so it not only comes out, it gets to come out looking super, super cool. So we'll place the wall there, and then we'll take one of the towers and place it right there. This is going to give it actual bonuses when it comes to defending a certain place. Of course, you have to have a unit there. If you don't have anybody there, they're just going to walk in and destroy the whole entire haven and tower and outpost and everything. But if you have a unit there, for example, at least 1, then I get to not only roll his dice, I'll be rolling everything that has to do with this tower and also the wall. And you'll see every faction is maybe a little bit different, but most of them are pretty similar. We'll draw our next horde card, and we have found the Lich Queen. Immediately place 1 curse on her hex. That's absolutely terrible. So we'll take this Lich person here. I don't like the Lich Queen. And I have to place this particular horde in a Screaming Sea location, which are located all around here. So if we think we might want to go after this person right away, we might want to go towards some place where maybe we're attempting to fight and go and expand. But if we don't want to deal with it, we might want to put it down over in another area and try to go this way against it. I think we're going to try to take on the Lich Queen, so we're going to put it over there. It's going to start at threat 4, so we'll take our little thing here, and we'll add in 4 threat. If we ever roll this symbol when fighting against it, every horde in play, including her, gains 1 threat before damage once per round. So we want to try to take her out second. We want to try to take out that false messiah first, otherwise he's going to gain more power. That's the end of the first chapter card, thank goodness. Now we'll continue on. But first, we have to place a curse token down in her spot. Moving this down, we'll now place 1 action token on every horde and legion card on the last chapter. Do this twice. This just means we're going to place a token down on each one of these horde, and when it comes to the Nemesis turn, we'll activate them based on the number of these they have. If they have, the more they have, the more things they're going to do on their turn. At this point, we'll move into the build phase. So we're going to draw 2 feats from your feat deck, keep 1 feat, put the other on the bottom of the deck. So if we take our first character here, Tulk, for example, we'll grab both of his cards, flip them over, and I can choose to either before combat discard this. Your enemy cannot use lightning bolts during this combat, or else I could take this, which would not only give me 3 resources, I can boost one of my hero's action dice. I think we're going to take this because I am not a fan of people activating the power, and we have 2 hordes out there that have absolutely terrible powers. So we're going to place that down next to him, and we'll put this one on the bottom of that deck. Next, we'll look at our Destroyers cards. Kahal, he's got 2 cards. He has the same thing here, and he also has action. Discard this to remove any of your units. Remove any of your units in 1 hex from the game. Destroy 1 skeleton or 1 garrison for each of your removed units in adjacent hex. Oh my gosh, that's really good. But I have to discard it, so it's a one-time use. Or I could gain 3 resources, which could build me up a lot of units. And in this first turn, we're trying to take out these hordes. So I think we're going to take this, and we're going to give ourselves 1 magic. Why not? Because if we can get 1 magic, we can maybe start buying some items that at least give us 1 magic. So we'll place that underneath his character card to show that he has an extra magic die that he can roll. On top of that, I get to grab any 3 resources. Looking at what he needs to buy people, I think I'm going to grab a couple more of these salt, and maybe one more food. That way we can not only buy maybe some dead eye archers, but I really want to get some of these vargs, and they're going to cost 3, 6 for those. I think actually I'm going to give back my food, and I'm just going to take 3 salt. I think that's going to be our best bet, because then I can maybe buy some dead eyes and a couple of these vargs, because with the vargs I can then re-roll my archery dice, or not re-roll, sorry, I'm going to gain an extra orange one during the archery phase. So that's the resource I have. Let's continue on. With our feats completed, we'll now build our units, towers, or walls from the resources on your havens. And there is a max of 5 units per hex. Our first faction, the Crow Forgotten Guardians. I forgot to actually tell you what the name of the faction is. They're the Crow, which is pretty sweet. They are the Forgotten Guardians. We're going to buy some awesome units. Here's how I have it all planned out here. I'm going to use 3 salt and 2 food for these 2 units here. I'm then going to use 2 salt to buy one of our Deadeye archers here. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 food to grab a tribesman, and then you can use 3 of any resources to be able to make a resource. We're going to use 3 plunder to create another tribesman. So we now have our 5 units we're going to place out next to our haven. Moving to the Renegade Legion of the Black Brotherhood, we are going to buy some units here as well. I'm going to use 2 of my salt to buy one of these Legionnaires, Imperial Legionnaires. We're also going to spend 2 food, 1, 2, and then these are going to 3 are going to turn into a salt to buy ourselves a Lizard Rider. And for 1, 2 salt and 1 plunder, we're going to grab a marksman. So we were only able to get 3 units for this group, which is kind of sad. They need a lot of salt to buy their stuff, and I just don't have the salt capacity right now. I wish we would have had an event that would have given us salt instead of food. That really didn't help us too much, but that's okay. You may notice I am actually holding on to some of my resources in order to build up a haven or to be able to command any of our troops. We need to be able to spend plunder or food, and that's pretty much what you need in order to move our units or build any more of these fortresses. Let's place our characters down on the board. You have to place them next to a haven. Of course, we only have 1, so it's pretty easy to see where we're going to place our guys. So we have our 3 there. We'll place our 5 up here. I'm excited for these riders here, these vargs. These are going to be fantastic. So we have a total of 5. Remember, that's the max you can possibly place onto a hex at any time, of course, unless something changes that based on a card or a rule. With our build phase complete, we'll move into taking actions. We're going to take actions until all players have passed. So let's take a look at all the different actions we can do, and we're going to now go forward and learn and explore and exploit and all the other 4X things that you have to do. Here are all the different things you can do on your turn, and every person has the same things on their board that I have noticed so far. The 2 over here are actions that can be done that don't finish your turn. After you do an action over on this side, it'll go to the next player. So everybody's kind of moving in really fast order, so you're not just watching somebody do all of these action cubes at one time and then it's finally your turn. No, these are going to go one at a time and everybody gets to do things. So you can use 1 action to move, and then once you move your character, not your force. If you want to move your force, you have to command them. And not only that, we have to pay 1 of those food that, like I said, I've been saving. We can also explore any unexplored hex that has no curse. I can flip it to reveal its effect. We can also pay 3 to place down a haven if we wish to. We could use a market action to gain an item by paying salt. Obviously, we're not going to be doing that because nobody has any salt on our team. We can also use an action to try to complete a quest, which I've shown you during the setup. There's also this trade action. You may always use this action, and it does not end your turn. It can gain 1 salt, and heroes may give or take resources from each other as well as any item in their receiving, as long as I'm in the same space as another person. Of course, that works a lot better in a 4-player game because you're so much closer to each other. In 2 players, you're quite a ways away, and it takes a while to get to each other unless you find a card or an ability that gets you there. Of course, a move allows you to move to an adjacent hex. Even if it is unexplored, your hero can cross any of these type of jagged lines, and you'll see those out on the board probably momentarily. For this particular first turn, I'm going to have Call the Destroyer move and then do an explore action. We have a lot of forces in our team here. Our goal is, I think, to try to take out the Lich Queen. We'll see if we can do it. I'm going to move over here to this unexplored area. Then I'm going to explore it. Of course, if there's a curse here, you have to remember it would be considered an explored space, and you can't actually explore it. If you do ever get to remove the curse, then you can go ahead and explore it as usual. In order to explore, I'm just going to flip this tile over and see what we have found. We have found the Netherwood. It says right here, Stronghold of the Druids, a gloomy breeze crest the ruins in there. So this is units and hordes here are adjacent to any sea tower. Oh, that's kind of funny because I'm adjacent to a sea tower. Now we get to complete all of these things. I get to gain 2 resources plus choose a player to roll their hero die. If I roll 4 of these, every player gains 2 resources. 2 of these, every player gets to draw a feat. 2 of these, every player gets to gain victory points. If you fail all, place 1 horde here and only here. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. So the first thing I get to do is gain 2 resources. If you notice, there's not any of those jagged marks I was talking about on this card, so it doesn't matter which way I place this, but some of them will matter. Also, this is a forested area, which is going to affect combat in a certain way. I'm going to place this down just like this so we can keep reading it if we ever need to. We'll figure out the 2 resources I need. I'm going to go with, well, I think maybe salt, because I seem to need a lot of salt to buy stuff for a lot of our guys. Not to mention it's used to buy items. So we'll gain the 2 salt. At this point now, I have to choose a player to roll their hero die. I'm going to choose Call of the Destroyer, mainly because he has the extra magic dice. So I'm going to take all the dice that are found on this hero card. We're going to roll these up and see how it goes. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 skulls, and 5 skulls actually, and 1 lightning bolt. So if we look at our tile here, it says 4 skulls. Every player gains 2 resources. I did not gain 2 lightning bolts or 2 shields, so we don't get to take advantage of the other parts. We didn't fail, so thank goodness no horde appears. So every player is now going to gain 2 resources. Each of our factions is going to grab a food and a salt this time. We're then going to move to his turn. Let's see here. Tulk is going to, I believe, do the same thing. He is going to then move and explore. We're trying to get, my goal is to hopefully take down both of these horde enemies so they don't grow in power. Let's see how that works. We'll move right up to here and explore this tile. We have found Imperial slave mines. Many prefer death on the battlefield to a stay in there. Remove any skeletons here. We don't have any. Place 2 garrisons here. Roll our hero die, and I'm going to gain plunder equal to the amount of skulls. Every other player will gain 1 plunder. Okay, that's going to be interesting. Now I get to place this however I want, and I think I'm going to place it like this. Our hero can now, this is these little marks here. The hero can move through these jagged edges, but our units cannot. Interestingly enough, either can hordes or Imperial legions. They cannot move through here, so they will have to find another way around. But I do kind of want to get over to this unexplored sea tower, so I want to keep it like that. But I have to put a level 2 garrison here, so we're going to take not only this, but we're going to put one of those neat little towers on top of it, which is going to make it even more powerful if I can get it out. There we go. We'll put it right there, and that means it's going to attack us when we try to move through this. Now, the heroes never trigger attacks, but when I do try to move these guys in here, they will trigger the attacks of this tower, and hopefully we can take the blows and still have enough left to be able to take on this guy as time goes. The last thing I have to do is roll my hero dice. I only have 3 purple and a blue, and I've got 2 skulls. That means we are going to gain 2 plunder, and every other faction is going to gain 1. So we'll go ahead and place these down on our board. Moving over here, we're again going to move and explore. I have a plan. We'll move to the unexplored sea tower. Remember, these are usually pretty good. Let's see what we found. One that's really got a lot of jagged lines on it. It says here, it is a Z-Guard. Units and heroes in or adjacent to any hex. If your heroes here, pay 1 less for an item in the market. Not too bad. Plagued by pirates. Even before the rebellion, the Empire fortified the sea tower called Sea Guard. I can gain 2 salt, plus remove any skeletons here, and place a level 3 garrison here. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Well, we'll place it like this, I think, because I would like to, actually I'm going to place it like this. I have a plan. We're going to place it like that. Now I do gain the 2 salt, so we'll put the 2 salt that I gained with the rest of my stuff. That's 3, here's 2 right there. We'll place these with the rest of our salt. Then I'm going to place a level 3 garrison. So not only does it get a neat little bottom, it's going to get the whole thing. It's going to look like a magical thing that you saw over right here. I'm going to put 1, 2, and 3. It is now the strongest it can possibly be. I don't know how we're going to take that out right away. So like I said, I think we're going to be going after this Lich Queen first. Moving back over here, I am going to play right here. I'm going to pay 3, I think, to put a haven down. No, I'm not going to put a haven. We're going to move again, and we're going to explore. Again, more plans. In theory, more plans. I will warn you, most of my plans in this game are usually bad. I'm going to move up to here and see what we have found. We have found the Plains of Ruin. Giant bones of the Kalath blanket the Plains of Ruin. Now I'm going to pronounce every one of these words wrong, and I apologize. If empty, place 1 garrison here. If not, reinforce here. Then place 1 garrison on an empty hex with no X. Then roll your hero die. Gain 1 food per skull, and every other player is going to gain 1 food. That's fantastic. I'll place that down. I'm going to place it like this, so it's harder for them to get to me. Now remember, I can move through this, but my units are not going to be able to move through this. Let's place down 1 garrison. Then it says that I have to also place 1 garrison in an empty hex with no X on it. So I'm going to place a garrison over here in an empty hex. I'm just going to add 1 to it, which is bad, but that's the deal. We're also now going to roll our hero dice and see how much of this food we're able to get. We'll roll our hero dice and see how it goes. I got 3, and that's actually fantastic. If we look at our chart here, the purple dice actually have a lot of lightning bolts, so I was actually really excited to see that many. Of course, the blue ones, I expect defense sometimes, but 3 is awesome. So I'm going to gain 3 food for our faction and place it down on our hero board. It's time to get our forces marching. I'm going to use a command action here, so I'm going to pay 1 food, and I can choose an unexplored hex, or sorry, an explored hex, and move any of your adjacent units to that hex. Now I cannot cross those little jaggedy lines there. At this point, I am taking my entire force over to this hex right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The most I can have in a hex is 5. We are good. I'm going to do the same thing here. I am going to use a command action to move my troops. So I'm allowed to move any of my adjacent units and my leader if I wish to. I do want to put my leader down here because we have to take on this level 2 garrison. So now combat is about to begin. In order to move, I did have to pay my 1 food. If we look here, a level 2 garrison is going to use 2 white dice during its archery, and then it's going to use blue, 2 orange, and a white during its clash. If I'm lucky enough to do damage to it during the archery phase, then it will have less dice it's going to use during the clash, which is kind of thematic because as you're killing people, they're not going to be as strong. To start our combat off, we're going to use our combat sequence here. As we go forward, I might not use this as much as I am here. I want to show you all the different steps that you go through during combat, and this guide is amazing. It lays it out perfectly. So the first thing we do is before combat, check our terrain, use our feats and items, and check combat abilities on legions or hordes. We do have a type of terrain. It is right here. It is the highlands, and as you can see down here, archery can only use 1 die. Now the nemesis do have an order in which they're going to pick their die, but no matter what, we're only all going to be able to roll 1 archery die. So they would normally roll 2, they're only going to get 1, and we also have 1 white die as well. So that's the thing we're going to do first. Then we're going to go to the archery die round. We're going to roll our dice, and we get to use any of our archery feats. Now I do have an archery feat here that says if you have a marksman, I gain a blue die. So I get a blue die and a white die, but I still can only roll 1 for my archery from what I understand. So we're going to choose the blue die because it's better, and we're going to roll their white one up here. They got nothing. That's fantastic. And I got a skull. That's awesome. So we're able to get rid of 1 of the garrison pieces here. That means it's now only a level 1 when we move into the clash. So let's take a look at our thing here again. Clash round. Roll 1 die per player per archery unit can also add their dice as well. And I'm going to add my clash feats. I don't have any clash feats, so we're just going to roll the dice that are for our groups here. I have a blue and a white for him. I have a blue, a white, and then I also get a red because of this thing right here. And the cool thing is now this is going to fire off. So I guess I do have a feat. It says if you roll 3 different colored dice, which I do have, I can turn one of those dice into a purple die if I want. So if we look at these, the blue die seems pretty good, the red die seems pretty good, but this white die, not so good. So I'm going to get rid of the white die, and I'm going to turn it into a purple die, which is going to be awesome. So we're going to roll their dice first and see how they do. They got 1 skull. All right, I need to roll 1 of my defense at least to protect myself from that skull. Let's see how it goes here. I got a skull. I got a defense, so it blocked them. But I did not get any hits. So at this point, we are just going to go into this repeat clash. We're going to repeat the clash until one side has no units, or a horde or legion loses all of its threat. So we're going to roll these 2 dice again for him, and he got 1 hit this time. Okay, let's see if we can get that defense again. And maybe a couple hit. We got a monstrous amount of hits, but we only needed 1. Sadly, I did not get any of the actual defense to block this. So we're going to have to lose a character. Oh, this is so tough because this guy gives me an archery round, which allows me to fire one of these blue dice at something before it even comes after me. And there's hits on this thing, which is pretty good. And this guy gets the ability to block with these blue dice as well. That's so tough. I think we're going to lose the We're going to lose the archery guy. That's going to be okay. And we're going to lose this. We were able to defeat that, and that's totally fine. For defeating 2 garrisons, we are going to gain 2 victory points. We also have to place our unit into the graveyard of the chaos, and they're going to gain victory points equal to the amount of factions that are found inside that when it comes to scoring. Something very similar is about to happen here. Hopefully it goes a little bit better, and we don't lose anybody, but that's usually not the case. I'm going to spend one of my food to move our characters into the space with that Lich Queen. So we'll move our hero in there, and I'm going to move all 5 of these guys in here. Now remember, because of this curse, I'm not going to be able to activate any of my lightning abilities, and this person's going to be able to activate lightning abilities up the wazoo. So if I can actually get them to stay in there, I don't know why I'm really concentrating on this, because they're all going to have to come and attack anyway. Let's see how we do against this Lich Queen. Here are all the exciting things happening during our phase here. First, we're at level 4, so I'm going to gain 2 archery dice for our Lich Queen, and then I get to roll 1 here because I have an archer right here. And on top of that, I have this ability here that during the archery round, if you have +2 Vargs here, I'm going to gain 1 orange die. So I'm going to get an orange die for this as well. The place we are at is the Ice Waste, so there's absolutely no effect when it comes to the terrain. Let's roll up their dice over here. Oh my gosh, I hit and oh no, that's no good. We're going to roll our dice here. I need a couple hits. I got a hit and a block. So we're able to basically cancel those 2 out. So I am going to take 1 damage. I'm going to lose the archer. That's totally fine. She did a fantastic job. And, well, actually she didn't do very good at all. We're going to move into the actual attack round now. This Lich Queen is going to get a bunch of dice. I was really hoping to take her down a step or 2. I'm only going to get 2 orange and 2 red, but hopefully that's enough to take her out. We're going to roll these up and see how it goes. We got a total of 1, 2, 3 hits against me, which is going to take out almost my entire group here. But hopefully I can get some hits in here as well. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's enough. So we were able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, which takes her out. I have to lose 3 units. I think it's going to be a no-brainer. We're going to lose these units, and we're going to be remaining with 1 Varg on the board. We'll place back our Warg right there, and I'm going to gain, I believe it's 2 victory points for killing off our Lich Queen. Let's check it out. 4D strong. Oh, I gained 3 victory points. I'm going to get 3. We'll put it up to there. Now remember, we're a cooperative game here, so we both want to try to get enough victory points to outlast these 2 different factions. And on to the bad news. I have to place all those dead guys right there in the Chaos Graveyard. I was hoping to go through that battle with the garrisons unscathed. That didn't happen. I don't think I have enough power of my force to be able to take on that particular Chaos Horde right now. So I'm going to build a haven. I'm going to pay 3. And it says here, when you use the haven action to place a haven, place a tower and wall on it. You could not build towers and walls in the base build phase. And this shows us what our towers and walls are going to give us. Our walls are going to give an extra blue, and the tower is going to give us an extra white during the archery and clash phase. So we're going to take our thing and put it out on the board with that tower and wall attached. We'll place it right down here where our hero is on these, what is it, Imperial Slave Binds. We have 2 actions left. I'm going to move, and we're also going to build a haven, paying our 3 plunder here to be able to place it down. I really wanted to place my haven here, but that's a huge garrison there, and I can't take that out, so we're going to place it there for now. Hopefully we can try to come in this way, maybe in our next turn. At least that's the hope. So we've moved back up here, and then we've placed down our haven. Just because we killed the Lich Queen, the curses don't go away. There's other ways to get rid of them through like quests or items or things of that nature, but just because you kill something here doesn't mean that the curse goes away. And of course, this guy's kind of stranded out there now in the Screaming Sea. At this point, since I'm not going to go after that horde, I'm going to go on a quest here with Tulk the Oathbreaker. I'll roll up my hero dice to see if we're able to survive this quest. I do not get the plus orange because I'm not in a hex with a curse. So let's roll these up and see how we do. I got a lightning bolt and 3 skulls, so lucky for us, that's exactly what we need. Oh, I'm super upset with this die right now. But we only need 1 lightning to have this place 1 basic unit on any of your havens. So I am going to place down an archer unit on my haven I just built. At this point, I also have the 3 skulls, so I'm able to get 1 victory point, bringing my victory point total up to 3. That's the end for what we gained for the top. Now the bottom here, I needed to solve 2 of these, and I was able to do 2. So I get to take this card, and when a horde activates, place 1 basic unit of any player on any of their havens. So this is going to be really cool. I'm going to keep keep this next to my board so I can use it at a later date. Sadly, I now do have what I believe would be enough to maybe take this guy out, but they can't move onto unexplored places. He would have to move here and explore it first before I could actually take these guys into battle. So sad news city there, I can't actually do it. Maybe it wouldn't have been great to place this haven, but havens are super important when it comes to gaining resources. With the havens there, I'm going to gain the resources that are part of not only the tile, but also according to the amount of havens you have. Of course, this faction plays a little bit differently, but most work in that fashion. With my final action, I'm going to go questing again with Talk the Oathbreaker. We're going to choose a little bit more difficult quest, but I only have to complete one of these, so we'll see how it goes. We'll roll up my hero dice, and we did able to succeed in one of them, and that was the 4 skulls. You know, there's a lot of defense on this, and I have yet to see that. I get to gain 1 victory point, bringing my victory point total to 4. Now, solve. Flip any unexplored hex with no curse on it and resolve its effect, but do not place or reinforce any garrisons or skeletons. And then we're going to discard this quest. There are multiple options because there's multiple unexplored places. I could not only flip over this one to see it, but I could flip something up here to help out that group as well. But the one I'm more interested in is this one right here. It does not have a curse on it, and when this guy activates, he is going to place a curse and then move. So I don't want that. If I can then ever remove the curse, I could maybe put some garrison here or something, but at least I'll gain the benefit of this when I explore it. If there's ever a curse there, you cannot explore these anymore, so unless you remove the curse. So let's explore this right now. It says, units and heroes are adjacent to any hex. If your hero is here, pay 1 less for items on the market. Still unconquered, after millennia, the giant called Gungri rolled over on overgrowing city and refugees around Guragai Tower. I'm going to gain 4 salt, remove any garrison here, and place 2 skeletons. Now remember, it said do not place any garrisons or skeletons, so that's not going to happen. And it doesn't have anything to really prevent me from moving away from it. So I'm just going to go like that. I get 4 salt. That was absolutely amazing. I'm so glad we picked that one. I get 4 salt. He so needed it. He only had 1. That's going to be the end, finally, of all of our action phases. That brings us to the Nemesis phase. We're going to activate legions and hordes once for each activation token on them in initiative order from lowest to highest. To activate a horde, we're going to follow these orders. First, we're going to place a curse in the location that it is, which is terrible. Then we're going to move the 1 hex, not further from the capital. We're going to count the hexes that form a route to the capital if you are not sure. Remember, hordes cannot cross impassable terrain, and while moving, only look at adjacent hexes to choose their priority. Their priority goes, 1, is there a haven? It's going to go towards that first. Then it's going to go into a hex with enemy units. If there is no haven, I'm going to choose the one with the fewest amount of units. So if I had this here and no haven, it would move over there. The next one would be, if none of these apply, it's just going to move into an empty hex. Remember, a hex with a curse or skeleton is not empty. So basically, he's just going to move right here. At this point, we now are going to begin combat with this whole area here. This is going to be awesome. We'll start with our archery phase. I'm going to check the terrain. So the terrain, of course, is still our highland, so we only get to roll 1 archery die. He gets to roll 2 normally, so he only is going to get the 1. I have the 1 archer here, so I'm going to be able to gain a white die, and this is also going to give me a white die, and then I can grab a blue die as well. Now look at all of these archery dice I could roll. Well, I can't. I can only roll 1 blue one. Before we start the combat, though, I do want to use this. When a horde activates, place 1 basic unit of any player on any of their havens. I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to choose a dude for this, a basic one. The basic ones are either my legionnaires or my archers. The Deadeye, I'm going to choose the legionnaire. We're going to grab another one of them, mainly because I can't use that many during the archery phase. So we both get only 1 die. Let's roll these up and see how we do. Let's roll it in the thing, maybe. He got nothing, which is fantastic. What did I get? I got a hit. That's fantastic. So he's going to drop down to 3. Oh my gosh, that was good. We're now going to see how many dice he gets. He gets a red, 2 blue, and a white. And because I failed to read the card when I actually came out, I should not have had him come onto my haven here. It says gain 1 red die when you're on a hex with a haven or imperial unit. So he gets a lot of dice, which is absolutely tragic. I get 2 blue dice because of my imperial legions. Then I get 1 white die because of my archer. I get another blue die because of the tower itself, or actually it's not the tower, sorry, the wall. The wall's giving me the extra die. And then I get a red one because of this guy right here. Hopefully this is enough to ward this guy off. All right, come on, let's get this guy. He got a total of, oh my gosh, 2 hits and 2 shields. Oh, that's terrible. All right, we got to roll some hits and shields here. Come on, hits and shields, hits and shields. Let's go. We got only 1 shield, but we got 3 hits. Oh, I forgot about something. I could have turned one of these to a purple die, but that's too late. I forgot to do that. I'm going to block 1 of these, meaning I'm going to take 2 damage. He's going to block 2 of these, which means he's only going to take 1 damage. So he's down to 2. I have to take 2 damage. I'm going to lose these 2 guys right here, which is too bad. I could have turned one of those purple, but I totally failed. He's back to 2 blue, a white, and a red for his guy. I've got a 2 blue and a red, so I'm not rolling 3 different colors anymore. Oh, maybe I should lose both the Legionnaires. Then I could be rolling 3 different colored dice, which would be these 3, and I could turn this one into a purple die. Why not? Let's do that. We're going to do that. I'm going to lose my 2 Legionnaires. Now that's going to lose almost all my defense because these guys roll really good defense based on our card here. 2 defense here. We're turning into purple. There's no defense on any of these dice. Any of the dice I'm rolling except for the blue one. So I've got 1 here. Now he's got 2 blue ones, which is absolutely terrible. He'll probably roll 2 more. Oh, he rolled 2 blocks. Okay, but he didn't get any hits, so that's good. We just need to roll a lot of hits. I need to roll a lot of hits here. Let's see how we got 1. That didn't help at all. So we're going to continue the clash because neither person is dead. So we're going to roll their dice. We got the same dice here. Let's roll them up. This time he got a defense. 2 defense again. He rolls the defense. I need to roll some big hits here. I only got 2 hits, so nothing happened again. This is going to be the longest combat ever. Let's roll these up again. Oh, this time we got 4 hits, so he has killed everything. I need to get some hits here, or we're in big trouble. I got 3 hits. That's enough. We were able to destroy him, but he took out all of my units. No, that's terrible. Now, the extra that spill over, don't go against this contraption here. But I did do 2, 1, 2, so he is 1, 2 dead. If destroyed, gain 3 victory points or 1 of your units here. This game is all about victory points, so I want 1, 2, 3 victory points. That's what I want. I now, of course, have to put all of my super expensive units right into the graveyard for the Chaos players. Good news, they don't get extra victory points for the amount of units in there, just for the factions that are actually in there. We'll move now from the Nemesis phase right to the production phase. I'm going to gain resources based on your total havens. We're going to gain 4 food. We're also going to gain 1 plunder and 1 salt from the amount of havens I have. Interestingly, these people are completely different, which is cool. It says when you use the the Renegade Legion has no resource production. Instead, gain twice the bonus resources of each hex with 1 of your havens. So we're on a hex with 2 plunder, so we're going to gain 4 plunder from that hex. Also, our starting tile gives us 1 of everything. So we're going to gain 2 salt, 2 food, and again, 2 plunder. So as long as you have havens out on that board, things go really well. We'll now gain resources shown on every hex that you have your haven. So that means we are going to gain 1 of every resource for Call. He's going to gain those 3. He's also going to gain 2 more plunder because of this square right here that he has a haven on. With that complete, we'll move to the scoring phase. The Empire scores first. We're going to gain 1 for every hex with a garrison, 1 for every legion, and 2 for every faction in the Imperial Graveyard. Good news, bad news, there's a mountain of garrisons out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 victory points for those. The good news is there are nothing in the Imperial Graveyard, and I don't have any Imperial Legions out there. Next, we'll score for the Chaos player, where they're going to give 1 for every curse, 1 for every horde, and 2 for every faction in the Chaos Graveyard. This is going to hurt a little bit. We have 1, 2, 3 of those out here, so we'll put those up to 3. Then I do have 2 separate factions in that Chaos Graveyard, so they're going to gain 1, 2, 3, 4 more victory points. Okay, there we go. That was a little out of the camera, I apologize, but we'll see it in just a second because now I'm going to score. I get 2 for each haven. I get, based on all the special hexes I get, we each have 1, which is our starting places. And then at the end of the game is usually when you do this one, any player can gain 5 resources. So if somebody that's lagging behind, we can dump all the resources into victory points for that 1 player. We both have 2 havens, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and we each have 1 of those special squares, so we're going to gain that many victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So our the Renegades are doing fantastic. We just got to get the Crow group going a little bit more. Now remember, they were able to take out like a whole garrison, and also on top of that, they took out a horde, where they were only able to take out a horde, which is just fine, because now they're probably going to take out a garrison this turn. Of course, neither of us have any units, and to tell you the truth, this is probably one of my best first turns I've ever had in this game. This game is pretty difficult, and I have a very low chance of winning most of the time. So let's continue on and move right back to the very beginning of the chapter. We start right back at the top of the chapter refresh area. We're going to draw our next Druid card and see what it says. It says that during the archery or clash, you and your enemy ignore all skulls before damage once per combat. Well, that's not bad. Now, of course, I need to get the lightning bolts in order for that to work. We're next going to flip all of your face down cards face up. I don't have any of those. We're going to regain all of our action points. I'm going to move those off their boards and back into the pool so they can use them. We're also going to deal out 3 new items. We did not get to buy an item, which is kind of sad, but we'll draw 3 new ones and see what we get. 1, 2, 3. We have this Daharic artifact. Flip this to place 1 tower and wall in a haven. That's really good. I should probably buy some of these items. Always pay 2 resources to add 1 to any player's roll outside of combat, so that'll help when doing quests. And the last one here is during your archery, if you have a tower, you gain 1 die that you already roll in archery. Oh, that could be really good for the Outrider group, or the Renegades. They can actually roll that extra blue die and grab a blue die. That'd be really good. So those are the 3 items in play. Let's move down and draw 3 new quests. We're going to discard those. The quests I'm really hoping for any that can potentially remove a curse. So we're going to draw our 3 quests and see what we get. We have Expedition to the Mainland, and it says here, gain 1 resource for every skull you roll during the quest, or at this they're going to gain 2 victory points. We have one here, Willing to Fight. I bet this gives us basic units. It looks like it's going to give us some units. Come on, I need to get rid of. Take this card in combat on march. I'm going to gain an extra blue. So none of these are going to get rid of those curses out there. So those people are still going to be gaining victory points for those curses. Quests are usually one of your main ways to get rid of those. We're going to pass the first player token up to the Oathbreaker, and we'll move into the event phase. We'll now add threat to all of our legions and hordes in play. There are none. We were able to take them both out, which is really tough to do. I'm super excited we were able to do that. The first player now will draw and read the next event. Our Chapter 2 event states, in the chaos of the days followed the curse, many slaves, collectives, and prisoners of the Empire take advantage of the hour to revolt and flee. Every player may pay 2 resources to place 2 basic units on any of their havens or unexplored empty hexes. Oh, that's fantastic. Then, to set an example, the legions of the Empire move out of Narngard to obliterate the entire insurgent village. Oh boy. Place 2 legions at threat 5 on the capital. Place 1 skeleton with other skeletons. If there are no horde, place 1 horde at threat 5 in an empty hex. That means we're putting down 3 main dudes. Oh my gosh, I don't know what we're going to do about that. Both of our groups are going to do this. I don't see why they wouldn't. This is absolutely amazing. I get to get 2 units for free. I do want to mention that during the scoring part of this, I failed to read this part, which is return all units from the graveyards to reserve. I'm sure you're wondering how you get your guys back. That's where you actually get them back from. I failed as we're going through the scoring part to read that. We'll start by paying 2 to place down 1 of each of these archer dudes, these marksmen. These are going to be sweet. Our destroyer is going to pay a food and a plunder to place down an archer here and an archer here. That was the good part of the card. Now the bad part of the card. I have to draw 2 legion cards. Our first one is going to be the Executioner. It says here, the ageless child, let her resurrected dolls do the dirty work. That's pretty creepy. We're going to place this at 5 for the threat. So it rolls, they actually seem to do a little bit better than the horde here. Look at how many dice they get to roll. Oh my goodness. It has an immediate effect. Come out and play. Place her target. Every player places 1 elite unit from play or the reserve in the Imperial Graveyard. Oh my gosh, really? All right, so I have to get rid of my guys. I'm going to get rid of this guy, and I'm going to get rid of this guy. So we're going to put the troll, and we're going to put this guy into the Imperial Graveyard. So they're already going to gain 4 victory points just from that alone. At this point, we're going to take her standee and place it on the board. We'll take her miniature, place it right down on the capital there. She's super excited to be there. I have to give her targeting token to one of the players, and I have to place it on a haven that has the least amount of units. No, they're all exactly the same. So, who wants to deal with the Executioner? I'm going to go with neither of us want to deal with the Executioner, but that's sadly not how it works. I'm going to place it right here. I think it's going to be awfully tough for her to get there, so we're going to place it on that one right there. Next, we're going to see what our next Legionnaire here is here. The Warlock. Immediately, let's see what it says here. Years of exile prepared Shuragori perfectly to become a Warlock. Place his target. Every player pays 1 salt for each of their havens. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. He's going to be a 5 as well. Well, so much for anything I'm planning to buy because I don't have very much salt to begin with. I've got even less. Then he rolls an astronomical amount of dice. We'll place that guy down there as well. I'm going to grab his targeting token and his standee and place it out on the board. I'm going to have this one have to go after the other guy because I can't have 2 Legion guys coming down here to kill me. We'll place it right here. Let's see how that goes. I'm sure it's going to be a terrible plan, but that's okay. I'm warning you right now, I'm not very good at these forest games at all. I don't know the strategies and things like that, but I give it my best shot. We'll place these down in initiative order, and the initiative order in this game go from lowest to highest. And if that was enough, since there is no horde on the board, I have to draw my next horde card, and we have found the counter of omens here. It says, the cemeteries of the curse were rich prey for this crawling nightmare. Immediate army of bone. Place 2 skeletons on his hex. Yuck. All right, and he's also level 5. Well, I should say threat 5. Let's find his standee, and I have to place it out on any empty square. I've got a lot to deal with right now. I don't know if I can take this guy down. I'm going to place him out here in the fog crave here because it does say anywhere. So I'm going to place it there. On top of that, I also have to place a skeleton with another skeleton. We'll place this skeleton right here. I think that'll be just fine. If there's ever 3 of these skeletons in a place, we have to draw another horde card. I do have to lose 4 salt total because I have to pay 1 salt for each of my havens in play. So both characters have to lose 2 each. Yuck. At this point, we'll move this down and place 1 activation token on every horde and legion card. Good news, for right now, they each only activate once. After all the bad things have happened, it's time for some good things. I get to draw 2 feats from our feat deck and keep 1. This will be good. Let's see what we get here. I get to either discard this, you may buy any number of items from the market, or I can gain a leadership or guile. That might not be bad. I think I'm going to grab this one because I also get to gain 3 resources, which will really, really help. We'll slide our card right under here. I'm going to grab leadership for him, though that means I can't buy any of the guile cards out there. I think I'm actually going to take guile now I think about it. That way it gives me the ability to buy better items if I need to. I think that might be the key to victory here because I don't know what we're going to do with all those things on the board. We're going to take 3 salt. I think that's our best bet. Let's see what cards we get for the destroyer here. Hopefully something that destroys things. It says here, discard this to gain 1 basic unit on any of your havens for every horde or legion in play. That's done. I'm just going to take that. I don't even care what this is. If the troll was destroyed here, roll 1 black die, lightning bolt reroll. No. I'm going to gain 3 units here because there are 3 total things on the board, a legion, 2 legions, and a horde. So I could just use this right now during my action phase. It would be awesome. Now it's time to build any units, towers, or walls from the reserve on any of your havens. Sweet. Our build is going to be as follows. I'm going to build 1 war lizard. I finally get to play dinosaur out. And we're going to grab a lizard rider and 2 of our legionnaires. I'm going to place them all on this gate right here. So we have a total of 5, and we've got our 5 right there. He's only going to be able to build a Varg with 3 salt and a 2 food. We're going to grab 2 more food to build 2 of these guys, and we're going to grab 2 salt to build 1 of those, leaving us with 2 food and quite a bit of plunder. And I don't have any need for, I think, all of this plunder. I'm going to build at least a wall on 1 of my towers. I should say havens. I'm going to build a wall on 1 of my havens. I'm also going to place all these units right here, so that they can start marching around and hopefully exploring and expanding and all that fun stuff. We'll see how this all goes. It's time to start. We're going to grab our actions and start going. I'm going to move and explore with Talk the Oathbreaker. In case you haven't noticed, I think that's an awesome name, which is why I keep saying it. We're going to explore over here. Let's see what we have found. We have found none who wandered out of the icy maze ever returned from torment. I'm going to gain 3 salt. If empty, place 1 skeleton here. If not, reinforce here. We're also going, if it's empty, so it's not empty. If not, reinforce. Plus, place 2 skeletons with other skeletons. Oh no, that's going to be absolutely terrible. There is no other way to place this, so I'm just going to place it like that. He goes here. It is not empty. There is a garrison here, so I am going to reinforce instead. Since the garrison, we're just going to add the top to here, which doesn't help because that's actually where I want it to go. But I do get 3 salt. So good news, bad news, I have to place 2 skeletons with other skeletons. I can choose to split these up if I wish to. I'm going to place 1 here, which is going to be sad, sad news. But the other one I'm going to place at the top of the board where there's only 1 skeleton. Now that we have 3 skeletons here, we have to go ahead and spawn a horde, which is horrible because now I've got 2 hordes and 2 legions on the board. We have the banished. His resentment of the old gods sets him against their disciples. Immediate primordial pleasure. Set the banished threat to 5. Choose 1 quest and resolve its failure effect. Yuck. So we have to set him to 5. He's going to be 5 anyway because that was what our threat level was on our card here. But I do have to take a fail on a quest. The quest I'm going to choose to lose is this one. Instead of being able to take this card and gain plus in the marsh, I'm going to lose 1 victory point, bringing us down to 11, which isn't the end of the world. Well, it's probably the end of the world. There's 4 guys on the board. And this one is right next to our base there. All right, or a haven, I should say. He is going to move and explore as well. What can be worse than that card? I don't know. Let's go find out. Let's move this guy up here and see what happens. We have found the, what is this? Many fled beneath the roof of the mighty tree embraced by the ancient Foija stone circle. Gain 2 plunder. If empty, place 2 skeletons here. If not, reinforce. Then each player gains 1 basic unit on a haven or any empty explored hex. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh, that's really good. So I'll put that there. This thing is here. And I have to put down 2 skeletons, which is kind of funny because these 2 will actually fight at some point. Now, I was planning to move into the square, but maybe I won't now because those guys will fight, which would be kind of nice. Then I also get to place 1 basic unit on a haven or an empty hex of my choice. And don't forget, I gain 2 plunder for being able to reveal that tile. I'm going to grab 1 of these and put it up here in this area here because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it already has max people. Also on the other side, I'm going to grab 1 of my legionnaires and place that down in this square with the single lone marksman. We've got 2 things that are potentially going to hurt this group. I'm going to move and then I'm going to command, getting ourselves removing 1 food to be able to move my troops. We'll move back to here. At this point, we'll command to move all of these guys down into here to take out this guy if we possibly can, this banished guy. Oh my gosh. We'll start our combat by checking out the terrain. We're in the ice field, so there is no effect. I do have 1 archer here, so I get a white die, and because it's a marksman, I get a blue die as well. The banished gets 2 blue dice as well. Let's roll up his 2 blue dice. Oh my gosh, 2 hits. That's terrible. Let's see how we do. We got 2 hits. All right, so I guess we both lose 2 guys. 1, 2. I'm going to lose the legionnaire, and I'm going to lose the archer. That's fine. And that is it for the archery phase. We'll now move to the clash phase. So he's at 3, meaning he's still getting a ton of dice. We're going to remove this card because I don't need it, but check out, I get this card now. I give a blue, a red, and a black die, which means there are 3 different dice here. So I could turn 1 of them to purple if I want. Sure, we'll turn that blue one into a purple, though the blue's really good at defending. But I think we just want to take this guy out. He's going to get a purple, a red, and a white die. So it's 3 on 3. Let's see how this goes. And my dice are actually better. And, oh, well, that's kind of good. Now, he gets to re-roll 1 blank for every revealed Druid card. So that's no good. He's going to, oh my gosh, roll into a whole bunch of really good stuff here. Let's see what I get. Hopefully something really good here. I got, oh my god, I got 1 hit. I got 2 lightning bolts. That's not too bad. I could use this to ignore all the damage shown on 1 enemy die. So we could pretty much get rid of this. Let's do that. Then I guess I could ignore you and your enemy, ignore all damage. Well, that would be something. Why don't I do that, huh? Ignore all damage. That's not bad. There's one problem here. This lightning bolt doesn't go away. I could use the lightning bolt to zap through the shield doing 1 damage, but he's still going to do 2. Yeah, we're going to use this archery and clash before damage once per combat. We're going to use that. But the problem is terrible. This lightning bolt here says destroy the most expensive unit or 2 Imperial threat here. I have to destroy this. Oh my gosh, my dinosaur have gone away. So we're going to lose that, which means I'm going to lose this, which means I'm going to turn back into a blue die here. Things are not going well. We're going to roll this up, see how we go here. We got 2 hits. That's enough to take out both of my guys. That's it for my guys here. Oh, nope, I did block one. So we blocked 1. But the problem is we both did 1 damage. He's going to go to 2. I'm going to lose this, which is terrible. And now I'm down to just a red die, and he is down to a white and a red die. We'll see how this goes. Oh, I think he should have re-rolled this because of that ability. All right, nothing happened. We're going to roll our dice here, see how it goes. He's going to kill our guy, and he gets to re-roll this die. Oh, and he blocked the hit coming in. Oh, that's terrible. That's totally, totally bad because it happens once per round he gets to do this. So my hit is blocked, nothing happens, and he takes out my last guy. This guy wiped out my entire group. Oh my gosh, I got nothing left. There's still 4 guys on the board. Well, if you want to see how you lose the game pretty quick, this is pretty much how it goes. I put all these guys in the graveyard, and I don't have any way of getting them back till the beginning of the next turn, or actually during the scoring phase. He is going to use a command action to pay 1 food to move 4 of these guys. He's going to move these 4 guys over to here. I have a plan. It definitely going to hopefully be better than the last plan I had down in the other area. That was a horrible plan. There's not much I can do right now with him. I think he's just going to move. Also, I want you to be aware, I forgot this curse was down here, so I could not actually activate any of my lightning abilities, so I wouldn't have been able to use this card, but it's not too bad. The end of the world still happened. So we're going to move him back up here. And I think we're going to keep exploring. I need to find a way to get some units. And other than the actual buy phase, there's not any way to do it. I do have my 2 up here I could move, but I want to keep them up there to protect the haven that in theory that Legionnaire is coming towards. So we're going to use another one to move since I'm able to move and the action does not end your turn. And at this point, I'm now going to explore this tile over here and see what we have found. We have found even at full strength, the Empire could never breach Frosthold Pass. I'm going to gain 2 of these plunder, and if empty, place 1 garrison here, and then place 2 garrison on an empty hex without an X. That's good. We'll put that right there, and we'll gain 2 plunder, and we'll put a garrison here. We'll place that right there. And then I have to place 2 garrisons somewhere else where there is... Oh, I got a plan. I know where I'm going to put them. I'm going to place 2 garrison here. These guys can fight it out. That'll be awesome. That's a good place for them. Moving over here, I am going to pay another food to use a command action to have all of these guys move into this square and try to take down that garrison. We're going to be able to gain a orange die because I do have 2 Vargs here for the archery phase. This is a level 3 garrison. It gets 3 white dice. Let's see how those go. That's going to be absolutely awesome. I don't think I'm going to do any damage to this thing. No, I didn't. It blocked, but I did not block it, so I'm going to take a damage. I'm just going to lose my archer, I guess. And then I get to come in with 2 orange dice and 2 red dice. We'll see if all of these dice can actually do something here. Now, sadly, I didn't do any damage to that thing, so it gets 1 white dice, 2 orange dice, and 2 blue dice. We'll roll these up and see how it goes. He got a total of 3 hits and 2 blocks. It has to be about the worst roll I could have possibly seen out of that guy. Let's see how we do. We got it. Oh my, we did awesome. I did 1 hit, which got blocked here. So I'm taking 3 damage. I'm going to lose 1, 2, 3 guys. Oh my gosh, this is out of control. I'm down to a red die. Oh, wow. That is absolutely no good. Let's roll up our die and see what we get. We did get 1 hit. Let's hopefully see he doesn't block it. He blocked it and annihilated. We just came running up over the ice fields and then just blah, slaughter city. And this game continues to slip out of my grasp. We are going to put all of these guys right up here in the Imperial Graveyard, super dead. Sadly, there's no open spaces for me to ever build any new havens this turn, and I don't really have enough units to be able to take something down. But, you know, we'll give it a shot. Why not? I'm going to use... Oh, I don't even have any food. I can't command anybody. I don't even know what to do with this guy at all. I could go for one of these quests, but the quests are really going to benefit the other player I have as well, because one of them lets me put down units, and I only have 1 unit I could actually even place down. And the other one allows me to gain resources, which I've got a pretty good amount of resources here, so I don't really need to do that as well. I'm going to do just a trade action. That gives me 1 salt. Why not? That'll maybe help me in the future. I could also trade stuff as well with my partner, but I am not able, and I'm not near and on the same square to be able to do it. So that's the end of all the actions that I can perform. There are some actions down here I can perform. First, I'm going to do 2 quest actions, basically back to back. The first one we're going to try is Expedition to the Mainland. I'm going to roll these up and see how it goes. I got a shield, 2 lightning bolts, and 2 of these skulls. So I was able to complete 2 of them, which means I get a victory point and I get to gain an item from the market that you could use. And he can use pretty much everything there. No, I lied. He can only use one thing. He can grab this item from there. It's the only one that has leadership. The other have guile, and he can't do anything with guile. So I'm able to flip this to place 1 tower and wall on any haven. And I'm probably about to do that. Next, I am going to gain 1 victory point, bringing him up to 9. That's the only victory points I've had so far. Also, one thing I forgot to is when you complete a quest, you also gain a victory point for that as well. So our gray player should have had 2 more victory points for completing 2 quests in the last turn. So that's 2 more, bringing it to 13. That's the end of this quest. We're going to discard that. Oh, I get to gain 1 resource for every skull rolled. Well, I'll gain 2 food. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to gain 2 food and see how that goes. Also, I get to reveal the next item card. Let's see what item we have found. A Twilight Bow. Maybe I should have grabbed Salt because this looks awesome. Flip this to destroy 1 skeleton here or in an adjacent hex, or discard this to destroy 2 skeletons. That's phenomenal. I would love to have that. We're going to do our second quest, which is this one. I'm going to roll the same dice and see if we're able to complete it. I hopefully should be able to. We'll see how it goes here. We got 4 skulls, which is enough because I only need to do 1 of these, thank goodness. The other one only needed 1 as well. We're going to gain 1 victory point, which would be 2 victory points because of the quest itself. Then I get to place 1 basic unit on each of your havens. Every other player places 1 basic unit on any of their havens or explored empty hexes. Discard this quest. As I was discarding this, I noticed that it says here, if you are heroes on a hex with an enemy unit, I get to add a red die. I am. So I'm going to add a red die and see how it goes here. I got more skulls. It's not going to matter. That's what we use to complete the quest anyway. And because I can't read, it also says if your hero's on a sea tower, I get to add a black die to this one. So let's see if that changes anything. Nope, because we already did the 2 we get 2 lightning bolts. Gain an item from the market you could use. Nope, we already did that one. So that didn't help us at all either. So even though I failed to read the bottom of the cards, it still did not become fruitful at all. I have 1 Legionnaire. I'm going to place him right here. I get to place down 2 of these because I have 2 havens. I'm going to use my item here to flip this to place 1 tower and wall on any haven. Let's do that, giving that one that has nothing on it a tower and a wall, because those are going to be pretty cool. Not to mention, they look pretty neat on the board. So I'll place it right there with that tower there. I do have the ability to command these units to maybe take this on, but these 2 are going to fight each other when it comes to the Nemesis phase, so I don't really want to do that. There's not much else I can do except maybe move back here to protect this when this guy starts coming down. But he's only going to move 1 square, so he's not going to get to him this time unless, of course, there's something that's going to activate him again. Just in case, I'm going to use a move action to there. And then for my last one, I am going to do that trade action again just to gain 1 salt. And we'll place that down with our hero. We are now entering the Nemesis phase, so we're going to activate legions and hordes once for each activation token on them in initiative order, lowest to highest. We have 4 different characters down on the board, but we're only going to activate 3 because he does not have an activation token, which might have been a reason not to actually go after this guy. Well, that might have been a good idea. We're going to start with the lowest initiative, which is going to be the Warlock, so he's going to activate first, following a set of parameters laid out in the rules for the AI. His target is right here. He's going to first leave this square and put a garrison there. If there's already a level 3 garrison there, instead they're going to gain a victory point. So they're up to 7 victory points right now. Then we're going to move the Legion 1 hex closer to the target, with priorities going to into a haven first, then into a hex with enemies, followed by into an empty hex. If any of this puts the character into combat, it will go ahead and attack. Here's some enemy units right here. Let's go hit these guys. We're going to hit those skeletons. These 2 skeletons are probably about to get wiped off the map. We're going to use the Warlock, and he also has that level 3 garrison there as well. So the garrison gets 3 ranged dice, and he gets an orange and 2 white. So we'll roll up all of these dice and see what happens to these 2 skeletons there. I'm going to guess they're going to meet their end. They are not going to meet their end. They're going to take only 1 damage. We're going to remove 1 skeleton. Now we'll go into the actual combat. This is still a level 3 garrison. So we got 2 blue, 2 orange, and a white we're going to roll for the garrison. Then this thing is going to be rolling a purple, a yellow, or sorry, a purple, 2 blue, and also 3 yellow dice. This guy's out of control, man. And then our lone skeleton will roll 1 red die. Let's see how he does. He got a hit. That's fantastic. Maybe we can hurt this guy a little bit. Meanwhile, look at these. If I don't get a hit on one of these, then this guy needs to go back to hitting school. He actually was able to not only get the hit, but he blocked the attack coming in. So our other skeleton is off the map. The interesting thing about this is even though he was fighting the skeleton, the horde, characters, if he would have ever rolled that lightning bolt and activated this power, every player removes 1 wall or tower, that actually would have affected me. So even though they're fighting each other, these effects still target the players. The Counter of Omens is going to go next. He's going to place down one of these curse tokens and then move towards the closest enemy here. I'm going to just place him, I think we're going to go right here because I think he would probably move towards that. Actually, we'll move him over there. There we go. We will remove that activation token, and we're also removing the activation token from the executioner and see what she can do. She's going to move right down here and leave behind a garrison. There isn't one, so again, we're going to gain 1 victory point, going to 8 victory points. Oh man, this is getting pretty out of hand. Remember, they cannot cross through these right here, so she couldn't go in this direction. So that's why she went there. It is now time to collect our resources. Sadly, there's not going to be much to collect. There should be more. At this point, I should have at least another one of our havens down, potentially 2, but all of my plans were absolutely terrible. Maybe going after this guy was probably not a good plan. I didn't have a good backup plan. I should have maybe gone up here and taken this out, potentially, so I could have placed another haven down over there, because you can't place the havens down here in these squares, so it's kind of a bad idea to go after this guy, considering he didn't even activate. Well, you know, that's how it goes. We're going to gain double of every place I have, so I'm going to get 4 here of these, 5, 6 plunder, and 2 of everything else. Moving up here, we're going to gain 2 plunder and 1 of everything else on top of what our normal resource production is for all of our havens. Adding it all up is going to give us 5 of these food, 4 plunder, and 2 more salt. That's only 3 salt. I was really hoping to get more salt to be able to buy some of these cool. Look, the big ones really need a lot of salt, so I think we're buying a lot of tribesmen in the next turn. Now comes the sad part. We're going to do our scoring. So for every hex of the garrison, we're going to do 1. For every legion in play, it's going to be 1. And for every faction imperial garrison, or graveyard, sorry, is going to be 2. So from where we stand, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these out here. Oh my gosh. So he's going to go to 15. Then on top of that, he's got 1, 2 legion out here, so he's at 17. And there's actually 3 different types of factions. We've got the horde, we got both of our guys in here too. So he's going to gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 23. This is, well, I'm showing you how to lose this game pretty quick. That's unbelievable. We're now going to do the scoring for our chaos player. They're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the curses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to there. At this point, we're going to get 1 for every horde in play. There are 2 hordes in place, so we're at 1, 2, 14. Then they get 2 for every faction in their graveyard. Well, good news, there's only 1 faction. That's going to go to 16. And sadly, that faction is pretty much my entire team. This one guy took out everything. That's where we stand for them. Now it's our turn. I'm going to get 2 for every haven in place. We're going to go 1, 2. Then we're going to go 3, 4. So the problem is we've got to get these legion guys. Oh my gosh, they're out of control. We get X for any special hexes. We each get 1 because we only each have 1 special hex, and that is our home base. Then we're going to be able to, if we want to, we could use resources to get ahead of the game here. So if we decide to only play a 2-chapter game, this would be the end. The Imperial player would be ahead of us, and we would have to figure out how to get ahead of him. And like I said, I could spend these, so I could get 1 for that. I could get 1 for this, which would give us 2 more victory points. And I could keep going. I could get 3 more victory points from our red player, and probably another 3 more for our renegade player as well, which would not have been enough. We could have each gotten 3. 1, 2, 3. We got into 22 and 21, so just right behind him. So it's really cool that this game, it looks like a lot is going on, and that you really have to try to take out everything. You don't. You just need victory points. I have a couple big problems here. One, like I said, I did not get another one of these havens down, which is something I really need to concentrate on. There's a couple, those are one of my fatal errors, was not having a backup plan. And losing to this guy was not good. And not being able to take this was brutal. That was where I was planning to go with my next haven. And without that taken out, I couldn't get anything else out on the board to be able to get a haven where I'd want it. I do get to bring all my units back over to our player boards and move up to the beginning of our third chapter. We're starting again, going into chapter 3. I get to reveal yet again another Druid card, and we'll see what this one's going to allow us to do. Archery and Clash. Place your cheapest unit in reserve from the reserve here. Max 5 per unit. Well, that's not bad. I can move a guy. That's pretty cool. That's going to be the end of that. We're now going to flip all my face up, down cards back up, so we're able to flip this back to the top side. I need to get more of these items. We're going to regain all of our 8 action tokens. We'll then deal out 3 new items. I don't know if I need to show these to you, but why not? Because you probably haven't seen all the items, and it's kind of neat to see some of the items that are in this game. So our first one is going to be this Horn of Yore. When you use the command action, I can pay 0 of my food. That's actually fantastic. Clash, discard this to ignore all enemies. Oh, that's really good. Enemy shields. And then always flip this during your Legion or Horde activation to move it instead to an adjacent hex. That's kind of nice. All right, so I could potentially buy some of these. Well, actually, no. I can buy this one. It's about the only one I can buy because nobody has enough guile or enough leadership to buy the other ones. That's kind of funny. We're then going to deal out 3 new quests. Let's see what our 3 quests are. We have Korath Migration. Sorry, there is no when it comes into play effect, and I'm able to gain some food and such. The next one we have is going to be the Delpling Allies. And at this point, I can ignore some terrain, and there isn't any come into play effect. This also does not have a come into play effect, a Forest Spirit, which I can then choose a hex or with a curse, pay 5 resources, remove a curse, and gain a victory point. That's really good, but it's 5 resources. That's a lot of resources. We're then going to pass our token back to the other player, and we'll move into the event phase. We're going to add 2 threat to all the Legions and Horde players. Then we're going to move the first player is going to draw and read the next event and place 1 activation token on every Horde and Legion card. Now this is the last chapter. We do it twice. We'll start by healing up all of these. They're going to gain 2 of threat, which is absolutely terrible. So they're all going to go to 7. Which is bonkers. I don't know how, look at all these dice they're going to be rolling. I don't know how we're going to take any of these guys out. We will add an activation token to each of them as well. And the activation tokens are double-sided, so it's kind of cool that you can just grab any one of them and just flip it to which side you need. We'll then draw our Chapter 3 card and see what it says. Under the Empress's orders, the new Imperial Inquisition no longer specializes in infidels, but in the hunt for insurgents. Discard 2 quests, ignoring the rules on them, and do not replace them. Then I have to place a skeleton with other skeletons. Okay, so far this is terrible. I have to get rid of 2 of these quests. All right, I'm going to remove these 2 quests from the board and place them off into the discard pile. This one I'm going to keep out there and available to us. That's horrible. Now I have to place 1 skeleton with other skeletons. I think we're going to choose this skeleton up here. The other one is 2 skeletons right up there, right next to where my base is, which is not going to be good. So we'll place 1 here, which is going to spawn another Horde. Oh my gosh, there's so many Horde guys out here. Who is this? The Coven of Yisat. Immediately, every player places 1 unused, red token on this card and do not regain them in the refresh phase. Okay, that's horrible. Let's put her down right there. That, of course, is one of our action points. So now we have to kill him in order to get the action points. And he's going to be way over here, which is going to be absolutely amazing. This is going so downhill so fast. It's absolutely amazing. We are going to put him right out here. It's awesome. That's the first part. Now we got another part here. It says heavy losses were inflicted on the Empire in the first weeks after the curse. But the new Emperor's power and his will to keep the last refuge under control are far from broken. Place 3 legions at level threat 5 on the capital, or 2 legions in 2-player games. We're going to only put 2. Then we're going to activate the legion with the highest initiative. All right, so we're going to draw 2 more legion guys, and we're going to place them out. They are going to come in at number 5. I should say that this one, the Coven of Yest, also comes out at 5. And that's because our threat card of Chapter 3 right here is at 5 as well. So we'll place that on them. Our first one is going to be The Spy Master, immediately Spy Network. Place his target. Flip the most expensive item on the market. They are not discarded until the Spy Master is destroyed. Oh, that's terrible. Then let's see what else we got here. We've got the Mage Breaker. Place her target. Remove one sea tower, empty if possible, from the game. Place the Mage Breaker on that hex. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. All right, these two are going down as well, and we'll place them into the line in the initiative order. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys out on the field right now, and our 2 card tokens go right there. I have to take the most expensive and place it face down. That's going to be my one of Nord here. And the reason it goes face down is because if it was empty, I'd be able to draw a new one, but I can't do that. And we have our Mage Breaker. He is going to remove a sea tile, if empty if possible, from the game and place him there instead. I'm going to choose to remove this one and place him out there because I still try to want to get a Haven over here if I can. I can't put a Haven on here because this curse token is here unless I wanted to try to get rid of it through one of our quests. But we had to get rid of the quest. I was able to do that, which was absolutely awesome. We'll place him down on the board right there. And we'll place the other one on the capital. Then I have to target something. I'm going to send this target over here, way over here. That's a good idea. And we'll send this one here, I guess. This wouldn't be bad. Let's see if we can get... Or maybe I'll send it, I might as well, because I got 2 and 2. Now, the interesting thing is I have to now activate the Legion with the highest initiative total, and that is the Executioner. So she's going to activate moving, and she's going to try to target this Haven right here, which is going to be awesome now, because now I have one guy, and he's going to take her out, and she's at level 7. So I don't think this is going to go very well, but you never know. First, we're going to go into the archery phase, and I don't have any type of terrain that's going to help here. So I get 1 die from my tower here, but that's it. She gets 2 blue and a white for her ranged attacks, and she got 1 hit. That's fantastic. And oh, I blocked it. So we were able to block that. Now, sadly, I don't get any extra from that tower. It only happened during the archery. Now it's going to be my wall. My wall is going to help me out, and so is my little character here. So I get 2 blue dice, and let's see what she gets to roll. Oh, I don't know. Every color on the rainbow. So she's going to roll all the good ones. Purple, black, blue, and 2 red dice. Let's see how she does. She annihilated my entire force. Let's see if I was able to at least damage her. Maybe, oh, I blocked one. That's fantastic. I blocked that one. He is totally dead. And that means since I have nothing there protecting my Haven is also crushed into dust. We could go into the build phase at this moment, but I think we're going to stop the playthrough here. As you can tell, this game escalates really awesome. It really builds up a lot of tension, and it brings in a lot of challenge. That last second turn was not a very good turn for me, and I think that's really going to be my demise. I am not out of it. We are actually ahead of the Chaos player right now when it comes to victory points, but as you can tell, I think the Imperial is starting to go out of control, and there's not much I'm going to be able to do about it. I can buy a bunch of units. I could probably get enough of the units on there to probably take out one of these characters and potentially maybe some of these, but it's just going to be more and more. Now remember, you don't have to take all this out. All you have to do is win in victory points. But like I said, I think the Imperial player is really on a roll here, and I don't think it's going to help too much. I have a lot of units up there, so who knows, this might have gone either way. Besides, there is always dice involved in this game, and so that can make or break certain things that happen in the game. So you could have a really bad turn, but then turn around and have a fantastic turn the next one. That'll really set the game apart. So that's it. There are 4 chapters, of course. I am going to show you one of the chapter 4 quests here, or sorry, the chapter 4 events here, just to show you. I do have one here that would place 2 skeletons on every sea tower. Ha, joke's on you. I got rid of one of the sea towers. For each player, place 1 horde at threat 7 on an empty hex. For each, you cannot place 1 legion at threat 7 on the capital. Then we're going to activate the horde with the lowest initiative total. You do not need to have an activation token to do it. So that's fantastic. This is a super cool game. I am enthralled with this game. I can't stop playing it because it's always so challenging. There's always things around every corner, and the board is always different. There's so many good things going on, and all these factions play completely different. This is one of my first times playing this faction, and it's a blast. I think it's really cool that you have to try to get these out here, and I get to play with a dinosaur after all. Come on, dinosaur, man. Dinosaurs are cool. So that's it. That is Uprising, Curse of the Last Emperor. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol. level so you know when the next playthrough comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. Have you had a chance to play this game? Is this something you'd be interested in? It's a little out of my wheelhouse that I normally do on my channel, but I like all types of games. 4X games are, again, a fantastic group of games to play. And when it's co-op, that's fantastic. Someday I'm hoping to play this with 4 players so we can all be on the board all over the place and helping each other and trying to pass resources to each other and taking out enemies that are potentially coming at somebody else. It's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to that at some point, and hopefully it happens soon. Again, thank you so much for watching. And if you're excited to see what comes next, then I need you to meet me at the table.